Okay, so second presentation is on multi-hazard disaster risk and resilience. That is a practical learning and step-by-step guide to improve the disaster resilience at city level. So if we are calculating the multi-hazard disasters at city level, so in this study what we have done, this we have done a project through the IIT Indore and NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management, and in this what we have done, that in this study we have taken the 4 cities across India, and in this we are preparing the scorecards. First we will prepare the disaster risk scorecard. Means what is the risk scorecard of, like we are preparing the results for the student. So this is a scorecard for the cities based on the disaster risk and disaster resilience. Means what is the risk of the cities and how much resilience they have achieved, and if they are not resilient enough, then what is the risk on them. So in this we have taken the multi-hazards, disaster risk and the resilience, and based on that we have prepared a step-by-step guide to the collectors, to the administrations, so that they can improve their resilience power based on that step-by-step guide. In local terms we can say, like similar like Hanuman Chalisa, we have given a small booklet of this pocket size, so that based on that a collector can view that, and based on that he or she can improve the resilience of the city. From there he can get to know in which part we are lagging behind, so what we can do in that particular aspect. So why we have done this on the city? Because we know that India is at high risk of disasters. So we have discussed lot of things in the before slide, also in the last presentation, and here I have discussed that we are highly vulnerable to heat wave events, earthquake events, and others different disasters. So let's discuss what is the disasters across Indian cities. So if we talk about this, more than 56% of Indian smart cities are also vulnerable. Right now we are giving lot of money from the government to the smart cities, and if we talk about the smart cities, more than 56% of Indian smart cities are vulnerable, and in recent decades itself we are having lot of flood events across different parts of India, like Jaipur 2012 and 20, Guwahati 10, 12, 14, Srinagar, Visakhapatnam, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai, Jamshedpur, etc. And these results or these disasters are causing lot of economic losses. If we talk about 2014 Vizag cyclone, it causes a loss of $20 billion. 2014 Jammu and Kashmir flood caused $1 billion loss, and 2015 Mumbai flood causes more than $100 million. So this is the problem with the Indian cities across different parts. So what is the problem in India? What are the problems in Indian smart cities also? So right now we don't have any scientific information database for all the disasters, and awareness among the people is also not there. No tool is there to find out or to measure the resilience level of city. If, for example, if we talk about Bhopal, we don't have knowledge regarding this, that how much resilient Bhopal is for a particular disaster. So we don't have any tool to measure that disaster risk management level at that city level, and there is no risk information conveying platform. For example, if there is an app, we will add the coordinates of the city, we will get to know the knowledge of that particular city. So there is no risk information conveying platform at city level. So it is very important to understand this thing. So in this study we will first we will calculate the risk, based on that we will calculate the risk, and based on that we will form a scorecard, that is a disaster risk scorecard. Other than that, second objective is to find out the disaster resilience scorecard. Initially we will prepare the scorecard related to disaster risk, and then we will prepare our scorecard related to disaster resilience, and finally based on that we will suggest something to administrations. At a city level? No, ma'am. We have some policy like Disaster Management Act 2005, National Disaster Management Policy 2009, and NDM Plan 2019. No scorecard is there, nothing, ma'am. So on a city level we don't have. One study carried out by UNDP on a state level. But the problem is, when we are getting the data set for resilience at a state level, states are not helping them at that particular level that they will prepare, because in the resilience part we have some questionnaires and they have to fill that questionnaires on the state level. No one is responding in that particular manners to them. That's why the study carried out at state level is not effective. So we have to go at a ground level or root zone level like city, then we can go for above level like.
There are other international work which is done at city level, city resilience plan and all those.
Yes, ma'am, but not at India. But not India.
But it is being applied for Indian cities.
Ma'am, we have not seen as far as from our knowledge, and that's why we have pitched that project to NIDM, and they have given us this project for this type of work.
So when was this project?
2 years before. So here we have 4 cities, that is Guwahati, Jaipur, Visakhapatnam and Guwahati. So these are the 4 cities, and all 4 cities we have selected because they are smart cities. And another thing, that Jaipur is a semi-arid region, Guwahati is high rainfall area. So these are contrast to each other. Other than that, if we talk about Guwahati, it is a hilly region and Jaipur is a plain region. And if we talk about Visakhapatnam, that is the peninsular part of peninsular India, and it is also a financial capital of Andhra Pradesh. So due to these reasons, we have selected cities from different parts of the India. So this is the methodology. So what we have done, we have prepared the disaster risk scorecard. So risk means, risk is calculated as hazard into vulnerability into exposure. And for resilience, we don't have any formula. So what we have done, we have prepared a questionnaire, and that questionnaire is taken from this Ministry of Home Affairs and United Nations Development Program 2019. This is also a study carried out by UNDP and Ministry of Home Affairs in 2019 at a state level. So we have taken the questionnaire from them, and in that we have 7 generic indicators to show the resilience of city, and that 7 indicators are further subclassified into 10 indicators. So 7 into 10, 70. Based on these 70 indicators, they have prepared a questionnaire of 172 questions, and based on 172 questions, we have marked them out of hundreds, and that is scorecard out of 100. And in case of disaster risk scorecard, we have calculated hazard, then vulnerability, then exposure, and multiply 3 of them. So these are the indicators for disaster risk. So these are some of the hazard, these are vulnerability, and these are exposures. And they are also defined by UNDP, that is earthquake, landslide, avalanche, drought, urban flood, heat wave, cold wave, cyclone, tsunami, fire, forest fire, lightning, coastal erosion, and industrial hazard. And vulnerability is unsafe buildings, social infrastructure, physical infrastructure, net cropped area, livestock population, industries, vulnerable women, vulnerable children, aged people, disabled people, rural or urban people, or for deforestation and depletion of mangroves. And in case of exposure, we have taken only 2 parameters, that is exposure and population and GDP. So the problem is that all the parameters are not equally important. So what we have done, we have given the weightage, like this, that for earthquake we have given high weightage, drought we have given high weightage, flood we have given high weightage, then lightning, industrial hazard, coastal erosion, forest fire and fires, and tsunami, they have given the less weightage based on the UNDP. We have not suggested anything, whatever UNDP has suggested we have taken directly. Similar with the vulnerability and exposure. And these are some of the data sets we need to have. For example, in earthquake, we need to find out if we are taking Bhopal as a city, so the area in kilometer square in zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5. Similar for landslide, avalanche, drought, flood. There are different parameters we have to find out, and based on that we will fill this table from different sources. And once we have all the data set, then we will compute the drought hazard index, heat wave index, cold wave index, flood index, forest fire index, means hazard index for all the 14 hazards. Similarly, we will calculate the vulnerability index for all 4 cities for all the parameters. We have 13 parameters, so we have calculated like vulnerability index for poor peoples, child peoples, gender vulnerability, elder vulnerability, social infrastructure, physical infrastructure. So all we have calculated as vulnerability index. Then exposure index. In exposure we have taken only the city GDP and population. Then we multiply all three, that is hazard, vulnerability and exposure, and we get then finally we get the composite hazard index, that is hazard risk index, that is consists of all three, that is vulnerability, exposure and hazard. So what we found from this, that maximum hazard index is found for Guwahati, followed by Srinagar, Visakhapatnam and Jaipur. So this is very important for us whenever we are going for the city level. Another than that, this is the disaster resilience part. So these are 7 major indicators for disaster resilience, and each indicator is further divided into 10 indicators. It means 7 into 10, that is 70 indicators. So we have to find out the data set related to all the indicators. So UNDP has prepared 172 questions on these 70 indicators. So we have, because we know from the Indian perspective that no one will fill this 172 questions from the India, because if you give that data set to or questionnaire to the administration collector office, they will say we don't have time to fill this such questions. So we have compromised in this situation, and after 172 questions we have made more generic, and 50-80 questions we have prepared, and out of that we have asked them to fill out. And we know that we cannot go for the subjective answers, because in subjective we cannot decide. So we have given the marks 0, 1, 2. If it is full condition is available 2, if you are not resilient enough in that particular disaster, then you put 0, and if you have achieved something, you can give you as a 1 mark, like that. So this is the disaster resilience. For example, if we talk about risk assessment, they have given these marks to them. Then this is the prevention and mitigation, risk governance, disaster preparedness, then further disaster response, risk relief and rehabilitation, and risk reconstructions. So based on that we got this result out of 100 marks. So from this we found that Visakhapatnam is having higher resilience power as compared to other cities. So we need to have more improvement. So from here we can find out, for example, Jaipur, they need to improve more on risk prevention and mitigation, risk governance, because their marks are very less as compared to Visakhapatnam and Guwahati and all. So this resilience thing is very important for the administration to decide in which aspect we have to work more in order to become more resilient. So conclusion, we can say that this report will give some idea about disaster assessment, disaster prevention, mitigation, governance, preparedness, response and reconstructions. And based on that, the policymaker from less resilient city can develop better plans and policies to increase the resilience of the city. Another thing, based on that we can develop the early warning system for the city. What is the situation in the next coming years, and the problem right now we are facing in India at city level, that we are not having higher risk means higher investment in these types of studies, means city are also lagging behind in risk investment. From the study what I found, that less than 1% of budget of total country of city is not used for this, and more than 80% of such allocation are spent on disaster response and relief, means whatever happen after that we are using that fund. If we are using that fund before the disaster, it can help us more and in better way, rather than using this budget in the disaster response and relief, just to apply before the disaster came to the city. So this is all about, because we have only 20 minutes. So thank you so much.